Hey, Chris, I lost all sound. Oh, okay, cool. Just, I know, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't me, it was you. Okay. Okay, perfect. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, all the time. Get juice.
Hey, Bob.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Shane.
You just looking to watch the stream, or are you just gonna jump on the?
Actually, I'm just seeing what I can screw up.
Good thing we don't leave you the admin passwords and controls, right?
Everything looks just peachy.
Mailbox there.
Yeah.
And then once that pops up, let's click on your calendar. The little icon right over here, little box. Yeah.
Right.
Hang on. I don't think so. I think it's the circle's going,
Circle's going, we're cooking.
right?
Get the crank out.
And then we'll see what pops up right there. Double click on that little,
Oh, this is getting complicated.
right in the word right there. And then click that link.
Holy shit, there's a lot of clicking. Double?
Just once. Yeah, let's do- click sound effects.
Okay, launching.
Click that launch meeting. It should just launch itself. It's not. Oh, there it goes.
Sing the arrow to it.
Huh? And then
All fired up.
click, you got it. Click that. Yeah, just click that.
Yes.
So we're gonna use this mute button down here, by the way. Yeah. There you go. You're all set.
Oh my God, since when did we go to this format?
Oh, like months ago.
Yeah, it's been a while. I had some other deal I was doing that was really quick.
Well, we
Big
can
hammer.
bigger hammer, right?
Yeah, it's all good. It's working.
It's working fine. Doing just fine. One more minute, we'll get started.
At 8 o'clock this morning.
Did you?
Phone started.
Yeah. They'll have to have days like that. Yeah, that's right. We're short one.
You can have mine. Cheryl.
I just
Um,
hold the microphone.
Oh,
If they need to, there's not much,
you're the new mic guy. Huh? Extra
sound
pay.
guy, you know. He was the radio engineer, so
Extra pay. Oh, that's right. Here's the credentials.
spinning hot stacks of wax from the top of the racks. All right, 6 o'clock. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you, everybody, for joining the September Credit River City Council meeting. We're going to begin with approving your agenda, amending the agenda. Does anybody have any amendments they'd like to make to the meeting agenda tonight?
No.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion, or Mr. Mayor, excuse me, no.
Oh,
know, these old
hang on,
habits.
hang on. We have a swear jar.
Thank you
Every
very
time you
much.
say chair,
Thank you very much.
supervisor, township,
Yeah,
quarter.
put it on my tab. Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
All right, thank you, Brent. Thank you, Al. Got a motion and a second to approve the agenda as written. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Sheriff report. Deputy Malkin. And Jason, if you would please push that, hold that button down. It'll turn that microphone on. You hold it down for a second till the light's green. Uh-oh. Yeah, change. There it is.
There
It's
you
on.
go. You're cooking now.
So looking at August, sheriff's office wise, typically what I do per month, I work my hours here, during August for 3 of the weeks I had a trainee. So we were trying to work the entire east side, but we were trying to expose him to as many calls as possible.
Mhm.
So we were doing all the credit
You go give the cat some food.
charges and everything above that CSTS system were done with the anticipation that every lot would be paying its share into that system. So what the lot combination agreement basically says is that they understand that they would still be paying two of those.
2 units,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
The notice went out on the vacation of easement for statute. Those only go out to those that are adjacent to, which in this case is only that property owner. And the property owner, when I last spoke with him the other week, is not going to be present this evening. He's out of town. So I would suggest that we have the public hearing, see if there is any public comment on that, and then you, obviously he's requested this, so he's in agreement with everything. But you could then make a decision whether you want to make a decision on these items at this meeting or table them to the next meeting.
sure. Okay, so at this time, any questions or comments from council members regarding this?
No. Mr. Mayor, just one. So have we been collecting on 2 lots there for CSTS?
Yes. Because there are 2 lots there right now.
Right.
Yes. And we've been collecting on all the vacant lots for several years now. Yep. Yep. So again, the agreement, which will be up later and after the public hearing, if you read through that, does state that the property owner would pay on each lot.
And the property owner is okay with it.
Yes.
Mhm. Okay, well then at this point, if no other questions, then we will open the public hearing. If anybody would like to speak on the vacation of the easement for 7757 and 7747 Prairie Grass Pass, if you'd step to the podium and state your name and address and any comment that you have. It's a second to think about that while I turn this back on.
Probably the only mayor in Minnesota that is also running the controls. So,
The IT, yeah.
well, it just shows how multi-talented everybody is.
All right. Any comments regarding the vacation of the easement? All right, well then I will take a motion to close the public hearing. Thank you, Leroy. Thank you, Al. Motion is second to close the public hearing for the vacation of the easement at 7757 and 7747 Prairie Grass Pass. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right, then move on to general business, lot combination agreement and resolution vacating the easement at 7757 and 7747 Prairie Grass Pass. Cindy.
Thank you. So this relates to the previous item. Each item should be considered, and if you, you could either do them together as one motion, approving the lot combination agreement as well as adopting the resolution, or you could take them separately. If you take them separately, we ask that you do the lot combination agreement first. Recording in progress.
If for some reason,
It's good.
okay.
I had opened my microphone so that they could hear during that little pause, so.
If for some reason that was not passed, then we would not want to pursue the vacation of the easement.
Okay, so we'll start with the lot combination agreement. Does anybody have any questions or discussions on that part of it? No. Okay, so if you guys are comfortable with that, then we would take a motion to approve that lot combination agreement.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Andrew. So we got a motion and a second to approve the lot combination agreement for 7757 and 7747 Prairie Grass Pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next up then would be the resolution vacating the easement at 7757, 7747 Prairie Grass Pass for that agreement that we just passed. So anybody have any questions or anything on the vacation of that easement?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Brent.
I'll second it. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Leroy. Karen, you don't by chance have what resolution we're on, do you?
2021-37.
All right, So we have a motion, a second to approve resolution 2021-37, vacating the easement at 7757 and 7747 Prairie Grass Pass. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right, next up, street light request on Meadowview and County Road 68. I did put a document in the packet tonight with the Scott County's standards for streetlights on county roads, okay? I talked with Highway Engineering, and they don't believe that a streetlight is warranted at that intersection, and therefore would not recommend that the county participate in a streetlight there. Now, that being said, that doesn't say that we couldn't do a stoplight if we felt it was warranted. That, is that what I said? That says stoplight again?
Yes.
Okay,
Quarter.
yeah. Yeah, I know. It's quarter in the square jar. That counts too, right? Street light. So that again, you know, and I think the resident who made the original request would like to speak on that here briefly tonight. And so I guess we can take in Mr. Bryant's input here quickly and then decide if we're gonna make a decision tonight or we're gonna move on and table it for now and any other work that we need to do. So Mr. Bryant, if you would like to say something, we'll take your comment at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I've been before you before on this request. The light at the intersection out here, Meadowview Boulevard and Credit River Boulevard, is really a more decorative pole than for a residential
You
street.
have to push the button on that, if you would please, so the green light comes on.
There you go. You're good.
It's not the correct light for that kind of intersection. I talked to the engineers at MVAC and indicated an arc light that arcs over that wide of a road, the county road and Meadowview Boulevard would be much more appropriate. The intersection does satisfy one of the conditions of the Scott County requirements. That's the geometry section. Because of the severe curve there, it's about a 130-degree turn, almost a U-turn, where most intersections are 90 degrees. Also, the lack of visibility at night, especially when it's raining. I emailed the council on last Thursday. It was raining. I was coming home at 9 o'clock. You couldn't see the curb as you turned, took a right on Meadowview Boulevard. It's just really obscured. So you don't know where the edge of the road is. Also, the Scott County conditions do allow the city, if it would find a benefit to having a street light installed, to proceed at its own cost to install it and then maintain it. And the residents of Crestview that I have spoken to 5 couples, they all believe there's a need for a brighter light at that intersection, and they would find it a benefit when they're coming home at night to be able to better see the street when they're making that turn onto Meadowview Boulevard. So for those reasons, I'd ask the city to consider, putting this in the budget for next year. I don't know if the American Rescue Plan stimulus funds of over 600,000 would free up other funds in the budget. I looked at the budget, but I didn't see any detail of the budget that would maybe allow that, but maybe there is that opportunity to use some of those funds if it would free up other funds that would otherwise be spent without the American Rescue Plan stimulus funds being received. So for those reasons, we'd appreciate you considering the installation of an arc light there to better light that intersection.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Bryant. Thoughts, questions? Anybody?
Sure. I guess maybe that issue should have been addressed a few years ago, before you folks dissolved your homeowners association in the neighborhood, and then you could contribute to it. So that's my only position.
Sure. The one out there, somebody must be paying for that
Yep.
one, the one that's at the corner right now.
First houses.
Because when the association dissolved, all those were shut off. And then, I think that because all the residents, whoever had one in their front yard said they'd pay for it. I don't know specifically who's taking care of that one. So.
Do we know what it cost for these arc lights? And it is not, I don't ask just because
Yeah.
of this one. I
Right.
ask because once this one.
Once we open it, and that's my,
Mhm.
yeah, Andrew, you're 100% correct. That's my concern is that once we open the door, right, is that every intersection is going to want us to have that request continue. I don't have an official estimate for it. Mr. Bryant did, reach out to MVAC and they said approximately $2,000 for an install on that. And then, of course, the ongoing Right, no, I think that the cost that seems light to me, and I expect that there's probably, because there's other wiring and stuff that would have to happen around that as well. And we would have to definitely get a firmer cost estimate before we proceeded with it. You know,
I think before I'd be able to make any decision, I'd like to see the actual bid to
right,
put it in. And I appreciate your comments. I don't know if you had a chance to review the document that the mayor provided too. And it's not that I don't want you to have a streetlight, but I think that this might be our opportunity to at least agree upon maybe some criteria for which the city would also maybe
Right.
adopt the county's
mhm,
situation with this, because I don't want to say no to Mr. Bryant in the
Mhm.
fear of what if somebody else asks.
right,
But we do have a lot of planning to do in this city, and
mhm,
having reasonable, and these are very low, like, expectations to put in a street light, and we're just not making it at that
Yeah.
corner, you know, so that's where I just am not sure what to do objectively to better address this.
mhm.
Did you get a chance to see this?
Yes, I did. I looked through this.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
because that, I had double checked on our accident experience, and I know Jason could back me up there, we have none at that intersection. Some of that geometry is there, but some of it's not. I had the road engineers at the U of M kind of look at that stuff too. And it doesn't, that's why it's not there with geometry, and then, so it's just one of these things is, I don't know what the right answer is. I'm afraid that if we say yes to this and then the costs exceed what the guess is at MBEC,
Mhm.
that why could we each say no then to the next person?
Right. Yep.
I don't-
Hey, you know, I think you bring up really good points. I think it definitely deserves some more research before we say yes or no, you know, and you know, that because that is my word. If we set the standard now, right, we're looking into the future of what's next, right? Who has a dark intersection that's gonna ask for the next one? And I think adopting our own standards, or what if we're just gonna go with what the county has or whatnot, would be something to definitely look at, certainly ahead of this decision. Maybe a practice at this point would be to have our engineer review those standards and recommend whether that's appropriate for us to go by. And then, yes, if we want to have somebody reach out to MBEC and get a, you know, a little bit harder number on that, and what else is involved, right? Well, you know, the county, of course, there'll be some engineering, because we'll have to design where it goes. We'll have to get permission from the county. So there's more than just the install
Foundation,
to it.
foundation for a new pole.
Yeah,
You know, I guess
So-
the question I have for the Crestview residents is if, like, let me just say this objectively, it's not a dig. I think I could make it into my intersection at my neighborhood, no matter what the weather conditions or what's going on, because that is my intersection. I know exactly where everything is there. I'm more worried about having a street light at an intersection of which a lot of people use that don't know it. And then the weather hits, or then it's nighttime and we're putting a bunch of cars into the ditch, right? That's what I'm more worried about. So if this is more a Crestview, the residents want it there. To Leroy's point is that something you guys could organize and maybe come up with a solution for us that would include, so we don't have to worry about the county engineering. We don't have to worry, but maybe you can use the same post because you guys put it in, maybe the wiring's right. You know, this is one of these ones that if it's not meeting the criteria for us to do this for every intersection that meets this criteria, is there something where we could partner with you guys, you know, offline and start to maybe come up with a different solution?
I don't want the liability.
owning a street light.
Right, you know, we moved from a city and to Credit River, before it was a city, now it's a city. And streetlights were the function of the local city government. So we're used to that. And I think there is a need there because of the weather conditions, the darkness and the snow. It's very difficult to make that 130-degree turn, it just is. You can't see where the curve is. One option might be to put little reflectors on poles so you can see where the curve is. Mary, right next door here, came and almost drove off the road into the marsh because she couldn't see the curve. that's what we're trying to prevent as well, is to prevent accidents, not that they're in it, but to prevent one from actually happening. So that might be something of real low cost, those little yellow reflectors that light up when your headlights hit them. So you know where the edge of the street is, because you can't see the curb. That's not, at least not
Well,
looking on our right.
That's kind of what I'm getting at is there something that would work for Crestview? Because I know you guys appreciate that and want that. But when I was out shaking hands, there's plenty of people that I was asking to put up signs on corners where the county put up streetlights that wish they didn't have streetlights, and they live in Credit River and they have a differing opinion of yours. So that, you know, we have to appreciate that as well, is that that's your guys' opinion, so let's work with you on it, you know, but there's plenty of people that wish the Scott County lights that met this criteria that Scott County put up, they wish they weren't there. Because it's like having sunlight on in their yard, and that's not why they moved to Credit River. They moved to Credit River because they want it dark when they go to bed at night. So I think that's why coming up with some objective criteria as a council, you bring up a good point. We're a city now. This looked pretty objective. I guess, Tom, is this for like city level streetlights, or is this for any streetlight at any intersection in the county? That was the one question I had.
Probably, in
No.
fairness, probably Tom has probably not even seen the policy, have you? Yeah.
Okay, wrong person to ask.
That
Sorry.
would be, yeah, Tony or at the county highway.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
can find out for you.
Because I think that was the only other question I have is, do they have different criteria for like a county road intersection versus
Oh, sure.
a just
Yeah.
intersection streetlight policy?
Urban.
Yeah,
street
yeah, because just to
yeah.
make sure that
Yeah.
we're looking at the right one, because it,
So that's where I
but
think,
this seems very low. I mean, 2,000 vehicles per day. You know, is the minimum for the major street volumes, and 20% of that has to be going to offset. It looks like has to be
Yeah.
using the intersection, not
Right.
just driving through it.
Yep.
And then the accident, I mean, all you have to have for, how hard you say it is that all you have to have is 3 nighttime accidents in 3 years to qualify for a
Yeah.
streetlight. So not, I don't think Jason and I would say start running into shit, but I mean, like, you know, like if it was that dangerous, we should have 3 accidents in 3 years, right?
yeah, you'd think.
Well, we're trying to prevent the accidents.
Hey.
Can we buy a reflector and put a big reflector on that corner? Who owns that land? Is that you?
It's the
Yeah,
easements.
It's
that-
the easements, there's easements and
Right
roads
away
and,
in the
you know,
county.
where exactly that is, that's hard to tell.
This is my
So,
personal opinion. I can do without the street light, as
Yeah.
long as maybe there's reflectors, so we take the curve, you know where the road is.
Yeah,
How-
If it's raining, you can't see it. You can't see it when you're
Yeah,
coming
you're
in one direction.
and that's
I
probably.
get a hold of Tony at Safety Sign and see what they have,
See
the
if they have-
smaller 4x6 reflectors and what it would cost for them for kind of a fix now.
well, and then, so my suggestion is, and Shane, I see you unmuted your microphone. Shane, are you gonna be down here this week at all, or next week? When are you next scheduled to be down?
Sometime next week.
Would you review that intersection a little bit, maybe drive in from the east a little bit and kind of evaluate that? And then at the same time, evaluate the county streetlight policy a little bit. And just maybe you might see something there that we're not seeing, and maybe a recommendation on, you know, if there's a recommendation for some sort of an improvement for the markings for the intersection, whether that be a signage or a light, you know, maybe that would be helpful.
Sure, I can do that. You know, I can kind of tell you in advance what I think my findings might be, and, you know, just like the small reflectors aren't a practice that is defined in the Minnesota Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. It would be more of those larger directional arrows. So I think those are actually on the corner at County Road 68, the yellow signs with the black chevrons.
Yep.
And those are probably a little bit overkill for a local road situation. One practice we have used in other similar cases is to simply stripe the road. So the striping has reflective glass beads embedded in it. So it's a kind of a 2-part process. First, they apply the paint or the epoxy, and then they apply the glass beads. And those are specifically for reflectivity. and they help see the roadway at night or in wet conditions. So that might be the best fix, if you will. But I can certainly look at it and give an updated report to the city council.
Yeah, I think that would be appreciative. And you're thinking just like striping on 68 on the county road?
Or you could-
No, it would be striping on Meadowview.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, could I ask, maybe there's three. I would like to have a further discussion about after Shane reviews this, what would this would look like for the city. I appreciate that. That's kind of the low cost, common sense
Yep.
options. But I would also like, you know, that maybe we could have a discussion that if the Crestview residents, there's 5 or 6 of them, and they can get this done for a reasonable price. If they can get it done and use the existing pole and stuff, maybe the further liability and maintenance costs of a street light there than for the city are probably nil. And it doesn't require us to go through a whole lot of processes to make something happen that the residents may happen themselves.
yeah. So I think the existing pole, you know, it's a really short one. It would not support one of the.
I have a feeling they're gonna have to put in a new pole.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's gonna be a lot to it, but I don't think that if the residents want to go through that work, talk to MVAC, see what their options are, make sure it meets the requirements of the engineering that was in here, and they want to bring us back that information, I would still think that that would be something we'd want to consider.
Okay.
Is that reasonable, Mr. Brown?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not ready to make a decision, I guess what I'd say.
Well, I
is how we
think
could have
we've got some more
discussions on
homework.
this.
I think we have some more homework that need to be done, and
Great,
you know,
thank you.
but I think we've made some progress because we think we kind of know where the county stands now on it. And we have a basis to work from going forward, and you know, Shane's going to take a peek at it here within the next week and have some other recommendations. So, all right.
Mr. Mayor, if I can just say,
Yeah,
you know, I think at one point we said, well, the decorative light on the corner. And I think the idea was they were going to take that wiring underneath the road, wherever the light is going to be. If we knew who pays for that light, and would they be willing to pay the monthly fee for the other light? So then you've got that taken care of.
Yeah.
And there'd be a lot more utility having the arm light that lights up. But we'd have to find out who, does anybody know who pays for that one?
First house.
It's, I think Larry and Mary.
Yep.
The developer probably paid the cost to put it in. when
Right.
It was developed.
Right.
It's about $8 a month right now.
Right.
For the to light that sodium
Right.
light. That's Larry and Mary, and they also cover the lanterns on the Crestview monuments as you come into Crestview. So they
Right.
picked up the monthly cost. of that.
Sure.
So if Larry and Mary were interested in saying, we'll pay the monthly electric fee, and if that, we probably wouldn't need the decorative light on the corner there.
No, I think that one goes away as the
So
whole
if that
thing.
goes away.
I
if
mean,
they
you wouldn't want to
approve
have
that-
too many lights.
Yeah, if they said, gee,
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
we're fine with that, then we have that taken care of.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we need to decide, you know, go through the exercise and research this on whether, you know, what's our policy going to look like? Because ultimately, this is not going to be the last time we hear this. You know, right now, what do we have? 2 that we pay for?
One,
One?
St. Francis.
Francis. We didn't pay for the Creekwood one anymore?
No, and the Creekwood one isn't there anymore.
Well, yeah, the Creekwood one's gone. I don't
Creekwood
know
one
that
went
will
away.
return. Well, it won't in the same spot because the
I
road
don't
won't
think
be
it will
there.
return at all. I don't know who's paying for it, but we
Well,
don't.
it probably won't because the road won't be there
Right,
anymore.
absolutely. Yeah.
So, all right, so we got some homework on that one. Perfect. All right,
Thanks for bringing.
Thank you.
yeah. All right, next up, Credit River entrance signs. So right now we have signs along some of our local roads that enter into Credit River. We don't have any signs marking the entrances to Credit River on any of the county roads. In the packet tonight, I got a quote from Safety Signs on doing some, you know, like traditional on the busy county roads, you know, the typical city entrance signs. Total of, I counted 8. Now, some of them may or may not actually end up being there because of some upcoming construction on 21 and 27, but we might have to wait on some of those. But total of $6,600 to do the install. We do have in our budget for this year, $15,000 in sign money budgeted that we've spent only a couple $100. That's actually gonna go up a little bit because the other thing you see in this quote is a bunch of repairs to some signs that we're gonna go ahead and do because we have to, and then, signs that are missing, damaged and painted. But so just an option that if you wanted to look at moving ahead with something like that, we'd probably have to, we'd certainly have to get permission from the county and because they would be in their county right away. But my thought process is 27 on both ends, north and south, 21 east and west, and 8, and then 44 coming in from Savage, Prior Lake area there. Kind of hit the major ones.
And we wouldn't do 68.
68 is pretty low volume. I don't know if that requires a sign like this, maybe something smaller. I know Leroy, you'd gotten a quote for a smaller one at one point that we could look at.
Yeah, this thing 90 inches across. Holy Christ.
They're big.
There's enough room in the ditch to put 2 posts. Well,
No,
Drive right in between the 2 posts. I guess the question I had is, there's some existing township signs that exist now. Are these gonna replace those then as well? Because you
think
named some places where those are that we don't have
Right,
a sign.
yeah, the only ones that I think that we have on some of the major county roads, we have one on 21 coming eastbound from Prior Lake, right by Cleary Park there.
County Road 8.
8 has one coming in from the west side, not on the east side. I think when 8 got reconstructed, that one got removed. 68 coming in.
at judicial. Yeah.
But 68 does not have one coming
Right.
in from the other side
No,
currently.
no.
And so really the only one that I think that's on where one of these spots would go would be the one on 21 there where coming in. And that one's on an old post.
Yep.
Already. That probably gets removed when that intersection gets done.
So. But I guess back to my question is, do we need to account for those other township signs that exist now, or are we just gonna take those down and be done with them?
Yeah, so I think in some of the lower volume and local roads, we
Don't
wouldn't
worry
do
about
one this big. We would do something smaller. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
18 by 30.
Yeah, this would only be on the major ones. I don't think there's any reason.
There's an old one on lower 167th too.
Yep.
At the end of the blacktop there.
Yeah, I already talked to Highway on that. I did. I know. Yeah. No, I think it's more fun if we just put them up and see if anybody notices first.
Actually, we'll just get like the highway signs.
Right over the
Across
top.
of the road.
Along with the toll booth.
Yeah. toll booth. Gotta pay for the streetlights.
Right. So anyways, just
Exactly what we
it
promised.
would be, interesting to, it'd be nice to mark the entrance to the city at some point. Especially on the major highways. The more major county roads, but if you're not interested, we don't have to either, so.
Anybody?
Anybody?
How big was the Savage sign on 44? That's in Credit River.
I don't know, I didn't get out to measure it,
Yeah,
but it's across 2 posts,
yeah.
so it's gotta be close. Of course, Savage doesn't have as many letters as Credit River does.
Well, here we go.
The population from the last census?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Any thoughts, Brent?
Well, we're gonna have to do it at some point. And it's, I think if we're, I think at some point, if we do this, any ones where we don't feel it's necessary to have a sign, we should probably take the old ones down.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely. I think we definitely need to, on the smaller
Yeah.
local roads,
Yep.
where we have
Mhm.
stuff,
Yep.
definitely get rid of the township ones. I mean, we're gonna lose, we'll certainly lose the one on 170th when that intersection's reconstructed.
Yeah.
As well as the one right there by Revere. Those will
Yep.
go away during that project.
Yep.
The only other one that I know of is the one on 68 that's left.
And lower one, lower 160.
Oh, that's right, there's one back there too. But I think that those would involve a different solution, because one like this would not be appropriate
No.
for a small one. That's why something like this I only would consider on a, the busier county roads. So if you guys are in favor, of looking at it further, I can definitely look at it further and again, it's gonna take some work to get, because we'll have to get permission from the county. Some of the sites will probably need to look at some different options. I think coming in from Lakeville on 21, the appropriate place already has some county signs that we'd probably want to ask them if that could be adjusted a little bit.
Well, we have to do something with the other 3 signs that need to be replaced, 4 signs, so. I guess I'm okay with these on the 8 major areas.
Okay,
That's fine with me. We're gonna have to do it at some point, so we might as well do it.
Yeah, Brent, when you said, I just to ask the question to the opposite is, what is buying these signs buy us as a city?
That's
some identity.
identity where you're
I know,
coming
we know
in.
where
right?
we're at.
We know where we're at.
I'm just playing the devil, I'm not
Yeah,
disagreeing
I know,
with you
good
guys. You
question.
say
It's a
we're
good
gonna have
question.
to do it at
It's a
some point.
It's a good
Why?
question.
You
Well,
know, like,
yeah.
what's our
the
why?
have to, you probably, it's not a have to, it's
Okay.
probably more of a want than a have to.
Okay.
I would, my belief anyways, because.
That's all I
For
heard.
100 and some years without, right?
That's all I heard
Or
on
you take down
campaign,
every
we
one
need our
that says
identity, so.
Well, that's what I was,
Yeah.
yeah, or you take down all those.
Yeah.
It was just my ask of,
Yeah,
well, hey,
Absolutely.
I don't disagree, we're probably gonna have to do it at some point, I'm just like, but why does anybody put these up, really?
Well, exactly.
Right? I mean, we all know where, we all. have to
If
take
you
care of
live
the
there, you know where
roads.
you're at,
We know
right?
where the roads end, because no city's gonna pay for somebody else's road. So we
Right.
just put up these signs then for, like, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Well, instead of a large monument like the two
Savage ones.
Savages building
Oof.
and Prior Lakes are quite large and they
Right.
keep adding those. There's,
Yeah. How much? 50,000. I think those
Yeah.
ones in Savage are more than 50,000.
Prior Lake does large monuments on all of their parks so that
Yep.
you know the name of the park. I'm
Right.
assuming-
Yeah, compared to those, this is pretty conservative.
No, I'm good with that.
Yeah,
It's just like,
I know.
Why even do it?
Andrew, it's a good thought, right? I mean,
Maybe we don't want anybody to know where we are. I mean, just.
There
to
are
be
some
the
people we
contrast,
probably don't want
right?
to know where they are, right?
Maybe contrast to the argument.
So you guys are comfortable with moving ahead and
I think
looking
so,
at some more?
yeah.
Okay. I'll work on that some more then.
Well, what are we gonna do about the signs that we need to?
Well, the other ones, I already told Tony, go ahead and get those done because those,
Yep.
I mean, those were signs that were gone,
Okay.
shot, painted,
Yep.
run over, pulled down, you name it. wi- And I can't not confirm or deny whether a deputy did have.
That's in his vandalism report.
All right, so we'll get those taken care of and then we'll look at these a little more in depth on the population signs and entrance signs, so. All right, moving on, number 4 in general business, Scott County Joint Prosecution Agreement, and Brent, I know you attended the meeting there, if you want to give a little background to fill everybody else in on what you
Yeah.
those discussed.
Well, the cities have a cost sharing proposal for joint prosecution. So Shakopee, Prior Lake, Savage, Jordan, Belle Plaine, New Prague, Elko, Newmarket. And so at that meeting, we were there to ask for the city councils, all of the city councils that are a part to this, asking them to take a vote to allow us to join. And the one of the recitals is a municipality or other government entity not party to the agreement may join upon a concurring vote of all of the cities. And then upon the addition, then we would be part of that. So each city will have before their city councils a vote to allow us to join. And we probably want to do some form of resolution saying that we want to join. And And that way the county takes care of all of the prosecuting. It could have been a fairly short meeting, but when you get a bunch of city administrators and city managers together, there's all sorts of discussion about all sorts of things.
Oh, yeah.
And with the county attorney too, so.
So I think the point of, the other point of that too, I think, did you guys talk about the price, the money, the funding behind that? You know, I think in the past, just for perspective,
Yeah.
the fines and that were generated by the prosecution covered the Scott County's attorneys costs into it. In the last couple of years, it's gone a little bit up the other direction. It doesn't quite cover it
Right,
anymore.
right.
So the county is asking now for some participation based upon what happens from your city.
Right, we will come in clean, of course, but they do have a cost share. And there's a chart there showing what in 2022, the proposed
Right.
cost share is. You know, the one with the least amount of files open and arraignments is Elko New Market, and they owe $1,200. They felt they could handle it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So I would guess ours
likely to be less
ours
than
would
that.
probably be, yeah,
Right.
ours would probably be less than that. So,
Yes.
Yeah.
So very little
Should be,
financial should be.
but it does say though, but 2023, 100% of the cost by the city.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the first
Right.
year, they want to go to 50.
Yeah, it's still, it's very cheap, right?
It's very
I
cheap,
mean,
right?
So you don't have to
Yeah.
take care of your own.
We
city.
couldn't do it,
Exactly.
we couldn't do it ourselves.
Yes, and,
Yeah.
I mean, you look at this, we're a bigger city than Jordan. We're not gonna be more busy than Jordan.
No.
But I mean.
Yep.
We should probably have the same type of criminal coverage.
Activity, yeah.
No,
Or
not
coverage.
activity, not activity, criminal coverage for prosecution.
Right.
For a city of
Yep.
this size.
Absolutely, agreed. So I think tonight, I think it'd be appropriate to make a motion to approve joining the Scott County Joint Prosecution Agreement so that when the other cities pass their resolutions or their motions at their county, that we can sign on and make that official.
Mayor will make that motion.
Thank you, Leroy.
I'll
Thank you, Andrew. All right, a motion a second to join the Scott County Joint Prosecution Agreement. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes.
Mr. Mayor, if I can just throw in one other thing, and
Yeah.
it was interesting with having the city administrators, one city manager there. You know, their question for me was, well, how's it going in Credit River as a city? Well, you know, we're doing what we need to do. You know, things are going slow and we're being very, very careful as we go along. And both Bill Reynolds from Shakopee and Tom Terry from Elko New Market both made the comment, if you need any help with anything, you want to run something past us, whatever, just call us. And I thought that was very nice. I mean, everyone was like, yeah, we'll do whatever we can do. And we have the relationship, of course, with Prior Lake and with Savage, but to have those two reach out, and Tom made the comment, Tom Terry from Elko New Market, he said, you know, when he came in, he was the new city administrator. They hadn't been one. And he said, so probably anything that you would run into, he's already run into it. So but I thought it was very nice that they both said that they're willing to help in any way, just ask. So,
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brent.
I thought you were gonna joke with this, Brent. They were gonna say, when you guys get some signs.
no, nothing. Well, there were some comments about the monuments being built in Savage, but.
Oh,
but that
yeah.
was-
When are you gonna do that? But
that-
no,
No, they didn't ask when we were. It was just whatever.
don't need that.
No, that's nice to
Thank
hear.
you.
Thanks, Brent.
Right. All right, moving on, general business number 5, resolution ordering feasibility report for 2022 overlay projects. Shane, would you introduce that, please?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We have several roads programmed for overlays in the year 2022. And in order to move those projects forward, the first step is to order feasibility reports. So I did prepare just one resolution ordering a single feasibility report for several streets. And therefore, that'd be similar to our project this year, in which we had several roads kind of combined into a single project, and that helped us with economies of scale, and it also helped just having a single assessment amount at the end of the project. So if there's no questions, I would recommend that we approve the resolution before you tonight, such that we can begin the process.
Perfect. Anybody have any questions or thoughts on the 2022 overlay projects? So the projects in the resolution, just so everybody knows, that would be Bernard Avenue, Broadview, Natchez, Princeton Lane, Marine Circle, 175th Street East, and Longview Lane. If there's no questions, we do have before us resolution 2021-38 for your consideration. I would take a motion for approval.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Brent. So we got a motion and a second to approve resolution 2021-38, a resolution ordering the feasibility report for the 2022 overlay projects. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Shane, municipal state aid update.
Mr. Mayor and Council, the next item is just a verbal update. On September 2nd, Dominique and I had a meeting with MnDOT State Aid staff. And it really was to go over the process from where we're at now to receiving our funding in the year 2022. And there's really kind of two steps. The first is a certification of mileage. So that is providing them certification of all of our streets that the city maintains and the mileage of those. So we already have an inventory. It's something that we're going to go through and double check before we submit it, because our funding is kind of dependent on that mileage. And after we submit that certification of mileage, they will then review it and kind of comment on it or approve it. And then they'll ask us, based on the total miles of roadway we have, we can designate 20% of those roadway miles as municipal state aid streets. So then there'll be a second step in which we designate the streets. So I will likely bring a list of roads and a map to your October meeting for city council concurrence. And that will put us in good shape. The deadline for having that into them is early December. So we'll be well ahead of that December deadline. One other thing I wanted to note is our funding allocation is made up of two components. The first component is based on population. So based on our updated census amount, our population went down from the previous estimates. So that will have just a slight downward trend on our funding allocation. The second part is based on needs. And the needs is really a combination of, again, how many roadway miles we have. What the second part is how much traffic we have on those roadways. We've never done traffic counts in Credit River before, so it's something that I would like to do. We have, I think we own about 20 traffic counters, and they're fairly easy to set up. So within the next few weeks, I'm going to ask Sam to set traffic counters up on Natchez and 175th Street, 170th Street, 195th Street, and Flag Trail. And as long as everything goes well, those will be pretty quick counts, just be a couple of days. But if the council or anybody gets any questions regarding that, that will be us that's doing that. So.
Okay. Hit one more time there. You just muted yourself. There you go.
If we're gonna put up those counters, I remember a discussion we had about Murphy Lake and continued grading and dust coating. Would this be a time where we'd want to get some counts on Murphy Lake Boulevard for the city's knowledge as well?
Shane, what, so were you looking at probably most of the collector roads that you were gonna do traffic counts on, or, was Murphy included in that?
We can try doing it on Murphy Lake. So the kind of counters that we have are the tube counters.
Yep.
And sometimes we have problems on gravel roads. But we'll just make sure that, I'll check with Leroy or somebody, make sure we're not going to do any road grading for those couple of days.
That would end the county pretty quick.
We can give it a try. Even if the tubes end up coming up after a day or something, it still gives us an idea of the traffic. and it wouldn't have to be an official account, so.
Yeah,
You could put it on Murphy right past Action Doors.
Still paved there.
entrance.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
blacktop.
just
so-
blacktop for a ways there.
Yeah, try to get us right to the edge of the gravel and because
Yeah.
if I'm remembering the
Yeah.
conversation right, is that instead of having a cyclical yearly conversation about that, if we actually had some numbers on
Mhm.
Murphy Lake, it could maybe help us direct our efforts a little bit better.
Yep,
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think the only thing we want to remember on Murphy is we either do it before September 21, when 27 closes, because that could be a shortcut. Or we wait until the box culvert is in on 27. So
Yeah.
we've got, we have a week.
I think that would be a shortcut
We
for
have a
one
week,
day.
and it could very easily be a shortcut.
For
And that's
one
one
day.
reason why we dust coated the
Mhm.
whole thing. So Shane, that would be my only comment. If he's gonna do it, he's got to do it before the 21st.
Sure, and I think that's, he'll probably have some time next week to start setting them up, and it's a pretty, it only takes 15 or 20 minutes per counter to set them up. It doesn't take very long, so.
Yep. Okay. Sounds good. Does anybody have any questions for Shane regarding that other topic there? MSA stuff, understand the process, and we'll have more to come. Perfect, sounds good. That concludes general business for tonight. We'll move on. Any council member liaison updates or any council member reports that you guys have? Anything?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Leroy.
Removed a tree. It was on part of the road on Lucerne last week, week before, I guess. And touch base with the gas line people about sweeping Lucerne. And they said they would take care of it. They get a little more watchful with the rain, so
Okay,
haven't had any complaints. And Kathy Hawk called up and complimented the board on the dust coating and how nice the road is now. So. No,
Council.
we take money out,
no, when you say board.
the council board. Anyhow,
Well, that's better than board council.
yeah,
Right,
so that's all I have.
okay. I've got nothing. Brent, Andrew, anything?
Resolve the weed issue, resolve the commercial vehicle issue.
Perfect.
Don't need more specifics than that.
Awesome. All right, sounds good. Well, then, we've got approval of the claim listing tonight. So in the packet, there was a list of claims. That's right, we're paying, I've like looked at that number and went, holy cow. Dominique, do you need to transfer some money for that one?
No, I don't actually, because we have the bond
The bond funding,
funds. So
okay.
the number one thing that we're paying is the first pay app for McNamara for the
Mhm.
2021 road projects. So you need to approve claims total 1,066,485. And 90% of it is the road project,
Yeah,
which is funded by the bond proceeds.
okay. So anybody in there have any questions, any other claims in there? Otherwise, I'd take a motion to approve the claims for tonight.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the claim.
Thank you, Leroy.
second.
All right, Al. Motion is second to approve the claims tonight for 1,066,485. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Lastly, anybody ready to adjourn? I'd take that motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Andrew. Motion is second to adjourn the September council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. All right, thanks, everybody. Thanks, Shane. Thanks, Bob. Thank you, Cindy.
Yep.
Good night.
Have a
Chris,
good
see you
night.
tomorrow night.
Yep.
Ah.